Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited. Probably because I'm like super nervous, so you'll have to excuse me. I know like Saratoga is just a person,
Oh
but
my god, yeah, don't be nervous. I'm like the biggest dweeb out there. There's like really nothing to be nervous about.
it's so funny because I was like I don't know if I could do this. I'm like, I don't know why. Like, I've talked to so many different people, but for some reason, I'm like, like freaking out. Anyway, uh,
It'll be fine. We're gonna have fun.
yeah,
It'll be good.
no, nobody needs to listen to me dither on about how nervous I am. How have you been?
I've been good. I've been very, very tired. I'm drafting right now. And I'm also, I have a day job, so I work a 9 to 5 job full time too. So I'm exhausted, but
Dude, yeah,
go trucking along, doing what I can.
yeah, holy crap. I don't write, and I have a day job, and that's enough. So you had serial killer support group. Tradwife came out in February, and I'm one of the dorks that just had to snag an aardvark copy because why not? And I was so excited to see this on aardvark, like yay! Um, Last Time I Drowned comes out in
June 2nd. Yeah.
June 2nd. Okay, and then is what you're working on the fall release?
No, that one has been done for a while. That was
Okay,
A Thousand Monstrous Forms. I'm working on my second book for Cosmo. So The Last Time We Drowned is the thriller that they bought from me, and then it's a 2 book deal. So it's a different book. It's a standalone, but it's the second book in that contract. So I'm doing that one now. So that's another sort of like psychological thriller.
nice. Very nice. I'm excited to see more of your stuff getting out there. I have an arc of Last Time I Drowned that I just started reading because I'm 10 bajillion things behind on everything. But so far so good. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Tradwife ruined me. In a good way, in a good
Good.
way. In a good way, in a good way. Um I got to read the arc of that, and it was so funny because I am a total nerd dweeb, whatever, about like acknowledgments. I always read people's acknowledgments. So like yours hadn't been printed in the arc yet, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see. And and I read and I was like, oh, they are interesting. Because like the last line of your acknowledgments, I don't think I want to read it because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But the
Yeah.
last line of your acknowledgments, wholeheartedly feel that one.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Very
Um,
cathartic to write that.
yeah, and I was gonna ask because I like, it's the book is about Camille and her whole trad wife influence her life and this toxic relationship with her husband Graham and how she finds her way out of that. Um, and I have previously been in toxic relationships, and I was gonna ask like the inspiration for this, like beyond just like the shit show that is going on currently, um, like where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean the general inspiration of the book is from seeing different tradwife moments go viral over a period of a couple years and sort of clocking them and then getting back to my business and being like, that's interesting. That's kind of weird. I'm gonna file that away. And then I think it was the fall of 2024, I had been talking to my sister. She didn't know what tradwives were. And so I had to explain them to her, which devolved into me actually pitching this book idea. And she was really into it. And then a week later, I started writing it and I realized that all those little like viral moments that I had filed away were coming back out. And I had been, I think, just percolating on them in the background of my mind for a while. And I wrote it very quickly, I wrote it very intensely, and it was the most fun I've had writing a book, which is interesting because it's also, yes, very much about a toxic marriage and drawing from some of my past experiences with toxic people and in toxic relationships. So it's kind of like a weird thing to be like, I had fun writing this, but like I genuinely did. Um, and I think I didn't really know exactly where it was going until I was done because I was just discovering it on the way as I was writing it. And it was really interesting to blend the trad wife phenomenon, the social media phenomenon, a very insulated relationship, and then also kind of the secondary romance that's happening. And I won't say too much about that, but that ended up being a big part of it too. So that's why I say it was fun to write, even though it does get kind of dark and intense in scenes.
That's I appreciate that because I'm like, that's okay because like I'm a weirdo because I like these books. So I'm glad to hear that you had fun with it though. And how lucky your sister is to not know what tradwives are. Um I, and it's interesting because like you touch on so much throughout the book and like the romance and then like certain twists that I was like, oh my God, didn't see that coming. Like, what the hell? Um, to me, I feel like the passion and the fun that you had with it comes out in the writing. Like you can tell, and um, it's just a good book. Like,
Thank
it's just a good book. Um, but it it's interesting, like the social commentary, the the tradwife phenomenon in itself is just so bizarre to me, not being in that. And it was funny because I just read something the other day, and of course it is escaping my brain who wrote it. But they were talking about how like Gen Z is being pushed into like trad wife stuff just out of simplicity.
you.
And I was like, oh, that's just oh, and then like thinking back to everything that was touched on with your book because like I know what trad wives are, but I don't follow them. So to learn more about them by way of Saratoga Schaefer's horror book, um, was like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, that's scary and interesting, and the amount of control, when so many people, I guess, were just looking for just simplicity and somebody to tell them what to do and take that stress away from them. Bizarre. Um, yeah, I just found like had you in your research for Tradwave seen that about like Gen Z wanting to go back to a simpler time and falling into that like almost like the crunchy to alt-right pipeline thing?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many different reasons why people seem to be drawn to this particular lifestyle, and that was sort of the impetus behind writing this book. I really wanted to try to get in the head of somebody who would be attracted to the tradwife lifestyle because I'm not, and it was very hard for me to wrap my head around. And when I don't understand something, I tend to want to dissect it and get a little bit deeper into it. And that's why I decided to center this book on Camille, on somebody who's actually like authentically living this lifestyle.
Mhm.
And I feel like I could talk for hours about the trad wife part of it particularly, and why it can be problematic and why people are drawn to it. But I have noticed that it's usually like one of two things where somebody is going into it because they are, maybe it's three things. So like someone's going into it because they're a true believer and they're bought in and this is what they want. Two, they're going into it because They have kind of a marketing brain. They're being business savvy. They realize that this is something they can monetize and make money off of. So they're going to just sort of do what they need to do to sell this. And then three, you have people who kind of fall into it by accident because of what you're saying, because they're looking, because they're craving something simple, they're craving a certain aesthetic, and they get sucked into these TikTok pages or these Instagram accounts where it's just like beautiful rolling wheat fields and handmade bread, and there's just this general vibe that's kind of cozy and welcoming, and you don't realize immediately what it is you're walking into because some of these trad wives don't have trad wife stamped on their bio.
Yeah.
And it's not immediately obvious that they're sort of in this culture and bought into this anti-vax extreme right-wing agenda. So you're just sort of scrolling and you're burnt out and there's so much shit going on in the world and you need your brain needs a break, and then you see a beautiful photo and you see a lovely table and bamboo utensils and you're like, this is so nice, I'm going to follow this person. And then 10 months later you've been sort of sucked in
Yeah.
to this culture that maybe you didn't realize you were getting involved with. So that's kind of like the three pipelines I've seen. And I think it's very interesting because each one of those people, those archetypes are very different from each other.
Hmm.
And they're going into it for very different reasons, but then sometimes they end up in the same place. So that was kind of what I was overwhelmingly seeing when I was researching this. And I knew that I wanted Camille to be more in that first bucket, that true believer, even
Hmm.
though as the story progresses, you start to see that she actually maybe isn't as much of a true believer as she herself wants to convince herself that she is. But that's her initial motivation behind getting involved with that subset of culture.
Yeah, it makes sense. And if it's like I feel like Camille would to me is like the person who would be scrolling and scrolling and like, oh, oops, now their algorithm is nothing but this. And then that's what they've fallen into. And I swear to God, I've never seen so many different ways beige was described than in Trad Wife. And
I
it's
had to get
amazing.
creative with it. I was like, I can't say beige 400 times, so I gotta get real creative with
I'm
it.
like, how many thesauruses did Saratoga go through for for beige? And I was
Gotta,
like,
gotta capture that sad beige mom aesthetic
oh my
correctly.
I can't. And you did it so well because it was like I was picturing to the point where I was like annoyed at the main character. I mean, which like you evoked some feelings, okay?
Yes.
Um, and I'm just like, why? Why is everything got to be beige? Why is everything, every shade of vanilla, cream? I don't even remember. You did such an, a, an exceptional job describing the aesthetic that I'm like, "God, if I ever have to see anything Tradwife again." And it was so funny because I guess the algorithm found me because of the book. Because then it was like some stuff popped up and was like, oh my God, they were right. Look at all of the beige.
Yeah, it's a very specific aesthetic. And then being in Camille's head too long had this like horrible inverse reaction where I would be like, look at that nice beige thing. Maybe I should get that for my house. And I'd be like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Run, run. Oh, that's great. So Tradwife is out. Tradwife has been out since February 10th.
Yes.
Okay. Last Time I Drowned comes out June 2nd. Tell us more about that.
Yes. So it's actually the last time we drowned.
Last time. Oh my God.
We instead of I.
Got it.
Yeah, but no worries. It's a longer title, so things get a little complicated.
My brain is just melting anyway. So apologies. Last Time We Drowned.
Yes, no worries. Yeah, The Last Time We Drowned comes out June 2nd, and that one is a psychological thriller, and it's about a author turned bookstagrammer who gets the opportunity to join this elite yacht full of mega influencers, and she gets on there and she joins them, and then pretty much almost right away is trapped on board by this freak hurricane that comes out of nowhere and strands them in the middle of the ocean. And she is fearful that they are trapped with a murderer. She keeps seeing images of the woman that she's replacing bedraggled and covered in water and salt, and she's seeing her around the yacht. So there's some fun stuff going on there. So I'm very excited for that one too.
Yeah, as I said, I had just started it yesterday because I'm very far behind on my arcs. But so far so good, and I'm excited to see what happens. And you're eh, well, so tell me where that one came from, because like it's it's a departure from Tradwife, but still kind of like in that influencer sphere. Was that on purpose or it just kind of happened naturally?
Kind of both. So I wrote my debut serial killer support group in 2022. And then I wrote iteration of what would eventually become The Last Time We Drowned immediately after in like 2023. And then after that, I wrote my next book that's coming out this year, A Thousand Monstrous Forms. And then after a serial killer support group got purchased, I wrote Tradwife. So
Mm.
things were kind of out of order,
Yeah.
and now they're coming out of order. So I actually wrote the first version of this, which does look pretty different than the version that's being published now, a couple years back. And I think I've always been very interested in exploring social media. We see this in Tradwife too, this sort of like parasocial part of social media where people get very, very involved with their favorite influencers, and they begin to think that they're like their friends, and they want to be in that circle, they want to be in that inner group.
Yeah.
And that kind of concept has always been very interesting to me. I I have worked as a social media manager before. I also used to run a sober page that ended up making me a bit of a sobriety micro influencer. So I have personal experience in that influencer sphere as well. And I have a very intense love hate relationship with social media for that reason. And I think that's why I'm drawn to writing about it. So it kind of depends. Like my serial killer support group has pretty much no social media stuff. Tradwife is obviously very social media heavy, and so is The Last Time We Drowned. And then A Thousand Monstrous Forms again has like none at all. So it kind of that's kind of how I go at it. It's like very hit or miss for me. I'm either very interested in exploring it or I don't want to think about it at all. So these two books coming out so close to one another, I think kind of has a benefit because for one, if you're not a horror reader but you like social media stuff, you can read The Last Time We Drowned. If you are not a thriller person but you like horror, you'll read Tradwife. And then on top of that, they both kind of explore the social media angle from different lenses. So Camille's is very interior focused. She's very isolated. Her only experience with social media is on social media. She doesn't meet any of these people in real life. There is a real kind of physical barrier there. And as the story goes on, she gets less and less kind of entwined with it. Whereas the opposite is happening in The Last Time We Drowned, where she's on Instagram, but that's kind of what's led her to this situation. And so she doesn't spend a lot of the book online. Instead, she's interacting with these people who she followed or who she had like known that were big in the Instagram world. So she's having like these firsthand experiences with people who are very, very popular on social media. So she's not really bought in. Charlie is the main character.
Yeah.
Charlie's not bought in to social media the same way Camille is. Like I said earlier, Camille is a true believer. She loves her Instagram, she loves her social media. Charlie is not. Charlie's like kind of like I have to do this. This is my hobby. It got me here. It's helping me pay my bills. I'm having a lot of struggles right now because of a betrayal in my life. and social media is a necessary evil. So both of these characters are very different motivations and very different relationships to social media. So although I'm kind of covering similar things, the actual plot and the exploration of how they deal with their attachment or not to social media is pretty different.
Yeah, that's interesting too, is you find that like the parasocial relationship thing, like that phenomenon of like it's almost like people expecting to have access to you.
Hmm.
It is very um bizarre and being an old person that I am, an elder millennial, having grown up before the internet,
Hmm.
like it's weird because I don't encounter it very much because my platform is not huge, so I don't have like fans. But I have encountered it where like people I don't know just like randomly send me messages and are just like sharing stuff with me like we're buddies, and I'm like, I've never talked to you before in my life. And I'm like, and it's not been bad, but it's also very strange. Like sometimes my own friends don't even just like out of the blue send me random stuff. So eh, the exploration of like the parasocial stuff I think is really interesting. And I like that the thriller is taking like a different look at that, almost that same sphere of social media stuff, because like right now like social media is hot. It's a hot mess, but it's hot.
Yeah, yeah.
um and it just like with everything going on, I'm like, do we have whales showing up at the yacht? Did
There
anybody
are
ask you that? No.
there are no whales. There are no sea creatures. All of the terror comes from the humanity involved.
I find that is typically the most horrifying stuff is humans. Truly. Like even in Tradwife, like the scariest part is the humans.
Yeah, yeah.
Um and I I don't know how to explain this to like, because if anybody who listens to this typically reads horror um and like sci-fi. Uh, so you know that like the monsters in horror are often human.
Mhm.
Um, is that something that like I don't know what I want to even ask, but like that aspect where like humanity is the horrible thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually a theme in my work where yeah, I mean, I think that's really often the case in horror for that exact reason, because we see terrible things happening all the time, every day, and sometimes in horror especially, and with Tradwife, sometimes it's like, yeah, I'm gonna pick the scary demonic monster over the person, because how can that be worse than what we're dealing with right now? So I think I tend to lean that way, where it's like, I mean, bring on the supernatural, because can it really be that much more terrible than what we're all doing to each other right now?
I'm waiting for the aliens any day. It'd be great. Come pick me up, please.
Yeah,
But
that would also
yeah,
be.
it's like, yeah, no, I choose the bear. Uh, we, we need bumper stickers that say I choose the demon.
I know, it's like, you don't take man or bear, you're taking the demon. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean that's fine with me. Um, so your fall release, A Thousand Monstrous Forms. Do you want to share a little bit about that before we wrap up?
Sure, yeah. So that one is a sapphic gothic horror Bluebeard retelling. It's contemporary, so it's set during modern day, but it's got that kind of like gothic, isolated, she's trapped at a manor in the middle of nowhere vibe. It's about a ceramic artist who moves into her new wife's manor, and she's forbidden from going into the basement, and she begins to suspect that the house and all the art inside the house is haunted. So it's It's very spooky. It's very intense. It's probably the most personal thing I've ever written. So it's very close to my heart, but I'm super excited. I love Bluebeard and I love Bluebeard retelling, so I'm very excited for this one to come out in the world in September.
I'm excited. I've never read a Bluebeard retelling.
Yeah,
So,
I think they're a little bit more rare in the world of retellings. Not that there aren't any, because there are, but I think it's one of the lesser known folk tales.
yeah, and just sapphic, gothic, Bluebeard, just I don't know. That sounds like that's going to be a blast. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it should be good. Hopefully I'll have the cover for that soon, so I'm excited to share.
I always love seeing everybody's cover art that comes out because everyone that I follow and talk to, it's all so different and everyone has such different tastes. So I love seeing what y'all's artists come up with. I love it. Um
Yeah, I've gotten lucky so far with some amazing covers. So it's great.
yeah. They've they've been good. And I mean like this the UK version
Mhm.
is far less creepy.
Yeah,
I
I got
think.
it right.
Yeah. Like the UK version is not as yeah, like it's cute and I like it and now I want it, but it's like this just screams, yeah, that's definitely horror. And I saw your post. It's like, hey, by the way, Tradwife is horror, guys, not
Yeah,
thriller.
yeah, having a little having a little trouble with that, where people are like, I got this new thriller, and I want to be like, hold on, it's not a thriller, dear. Like, I need you to know what you're walking into, because it's not that at all. I
Like,
guess
no,
that's one of the dangers of being a genre hopping author, is that people don't really know if they're reading a thriller or a horror, I guess, but it's labeled, so look.
it's labeled, you got content warnings, they'll be all right.
Yeah,
That's the advantage to expanding your horizons and reading more, right?
true. That's true. I just don't want to like traumatize anybody who doesn't know what they're walking into.
They'll be okay.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. It has been a blast. We're about out of time. Any anything else? Any announcements? Anything I forgot? You want to give dates for the next releases?
Sure, yeah. So the last time we drowned is out June 2nd, and A Thousand Monstrous Forms is out September 15th. And you can find all information about them on my website, which is just saratogaschaefer.com, or you can go to my social media, which is just at Saratoga is here. I'm pretty much everywhere, but I'm only really active on Instagram and Threads sometimes. So if anybody wants to find me or chat or whatnot, that's how you can do that.
Awesome. It has been so much fun. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Go have a nap now, right?
Yeah, right.
Could have lots of naps in between
Lots of
writing.
naps, lots of cozy video games on the Switch and stuff.
Oh, yes. Yes. Absolutely. Oh, you're playing Pocopia too, aren't you?
I'm not, because I
No?
can't get over Ditto looking like that. I did not like Ditto looking like that when I was like 10, and I don't like it now, and I don't want to look at it for that long.
It's a little unsettling, isn't it?
It's a lot, and I'm also not like a huge farming games person. Like, it gives me more agita, because I'm like, "Oh my god, I have to like do like just add things to my already very long to-do list." So
Yeah.
I like stuff that's gonna turn my brain off a little bit more.
Wait a minute. So wait, now I need to know what you're playing because I like everybody has been playing Pocopia, so I just assumed. What is your
Yeah,
cozy game?
I just started playing Cozy Caravan, which is like hitting all of my itches right now. It's like super cute. You get to pick a little creature and you get to like change its little outfit, and then you go around this land in a caravan that's driven by this like giant bumblebee, and
Oh.
you do little like kindness tasks for all of the neighbors in the neighborhood, and everybody's an animal, there's no people, which I love. And then you have like little like marketplaces, and you make salads and you can sell the salads. It's just very cute. It's very like chill and relaxed. I also play Animal Crossing, but like I'm having some issues with that where I feel like it's too like capitalist driven and it's starting to stress me out. Like I've been playing it since I've been 14, but it's at the point where I'm like this feels too much like real life and it also makes me depressed that I can't like pick apples off of a tree and sell them to like get some coins when I need money. So I'm like stepping away from it for a little.
You know, as bad as like end stage capitalism is ruining my playthrough of Animal
Yeah,
Crossing.
it's really bad. It's infiltrating my life.
No, I feel that though. Yeah, I find I play Stardew Valley and I find the farming aspect is very nerve-wracking. And I'm like, I'm playing this to relax and now I'm like, oh no, but wait. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I've never gotten into Stardew Valley. Also, I'm not like a huge fan of the graphics. Like I'm a very visual person and I don't love the Stardew Valley graphics, but that's why I don't play it because I'm just like I can't with like the constant farm. Like I would have a
Mhm.
garden if I wanted to do that, and I don't because I know I would be too dysregulated. So I can't also then do that even on like a virtual platform.
I love it. I love it. It's been awesome. Go back to your cozy game. Get a good nap in. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for hanging out with me.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.
Take it easy.
You too.
Bye.